It's finally raining AV receivers, right? I'm sure that you all have come across the stocks of Pioneer and Onkyo as well by now. So now with Denon, Marantz, Onkyo, Pioneer being stable in the country, I think the stock shortage of AV receivers is very well taken care of. And for that very reason, we are continuing this particular series of exploring and reviewing various AV receivers. So in our last two videos, we reviewed the Pioneer VSX 834 as well as 935. And in this particular video, we are going to review the X1700H from Denon. Now, though this model has been there since long time, it's surely an upgrade to the old AV receiver, which is the X1600H. This video we are going to divide it into three parts. One, obviously we are going to explore this product and see the features and the specification of this model. Second is wherein I am going to give you a surprise to all of you by comparing this product with the S760H AV receiver, because S760H and X1700H are very much at par, and it confuses a lot of people as to which model should we really go for. And for that very reason, that small element in this particular video is going to help you clear that doubt once and for all. And in the third part, we are going to actually compare this product, or not compare, but we are actually going to look out for the upgrade options of this particular AV receiver within the same brand as well as in some other brands. So make sure to watch this video till the end, because by the end of the video, I am also going to leave you all with details and more information about how can you design one of the best home theater room or one of the best home theater systems for your own living rooms or bedrooms or dedicated cinema rooms. Now, compared to the old models of Denon receivers, if you see the front panel, the HDMI input port which was available on the front, the aux port, is now missing, and this I feel is one of the drawbacks of all the new AV receivers, because having that port was very much handy when you have to connect a laptop. In case you never had to use it, then you are still lucky because you now don't have that any which ways in this particular range of the AV receivers. But with this particular AV receiver, apart from the old 4K technology that you used to get in the X1600H, this particular AV receiver now supports 8K as well. So 8K at 60Hz and 4K at 120Hz gives you a great boost for your gaming purposes. And to get that 8K port support, they have got 3 HDMI ports at the back, which is Game, aux1 and aux2. So these 3 ports are 8K compatible, and they are not just through firmware. They have now got the hardware also fixed, so you can very well stay assured about getting a good refresh rate for your gaming consoles. At the same time, they have got 3 extra HDMI input ports, which is for your cable satellite, Tata Sky, it can be your content streaming devices like Fire TV Stick, Roku, Apple TV, and for a Blu-ray player. So with all these 6 HDMI inputs, this AV receiver can take care of all the possible inputs that you would ever want to connect in a home theater system. At the same time, it has got one HDMI output, which is the eARC output, and this output can be connected to your TV, which has got eARC port, or you can also connect it to your projector, which may or may not have ARC necessarily, but it can at least transfer the video signal properly. So one output and 6 inputs is the HDMI configuration of this particular AV receiver. If you look at more number of details that are given at the back, they have got 2 sub pre-outs, which is nowadays most common with all the AV receivers. You have also got 2 optical inputs, so one for TV audio, one is for your cable satellite. So a lot of set-top box today have got optical ports as well, so you can actually remove the optical, which is a little more better for dedicated audio transfer, and you can send the video to the TV directly. So in case you have got parents who are not used to turning on the home theater and they want the audio from the TV itself, then what you can do is you can simply connect the Tata Sky set-top box to your TV, which they have been used to from a long time. And in case you are watching wherein you want to enjoy the audio from the home theater system, but you don't want to play with the cables, then just get the audio out from the Tata Sky set-top box, which is the optical audio out, connect it to the audio input of this particular AV receiver, and while the video signal will go to the TV, you can extract the audio and use it from this particular home theater system. With this, both the scenarios are very well taken care of, and that is why this AV receivers comes with 2 optical outputs. Now apart from that, you have got FM AM support, which is pretty common, though I am not really a fan of the FM and the AM stations, because there's a lot of distortion in the reception of the FM signal. You have to play along with the cable a lot. But compared to that, if you actually use the internet radio feature in this particular AV receiver, that's more friendly, and that is actually going to give you many more internet stations of the same channels that are there on the analog version as well. Also, the analog versions are all stereo, so they are not going to give you a good surround sound experience. But these AV receivers with the internet radio facility can be used to explore some better options for the surround sound. Apart from that, you have got two analog inputs, so that's primarily in case you have got some old device which still runs on a stereo, left, right, white and red cable. You can connect it to this, and it has got one monitor video out, which is the yellow color output. Now that's again an analog cable, so in case you have got a karaoke machine which has got the white, yellow, red cable, you can connect it to this and you can still transfer the video to the TV using the yellow analog video cable. The speaker binding posts are very much nice with all the channels mentioned properly. You have got front right, front left, center, surround right, surround left, as well as you have got surround back ports which are assignable ports. So these assignable can be used for bi-amping too. Now that's one of the best features. If at all you want to drive a little more power at 5 channel, using 5 channel, and the floor standings would demand, for instance, a little more power, you can actually assign these surround back ports with the front channels, and that's how you can actually draw more power to the front speakers. Apart from that, it has got a network, wired LAN network support, and it has got good 2 antennas which can be connected to your Wi-Fi network. So wired as well as wireless connectivity to internet is very much possible with this device. This was all about the back panel. One of the missing things in this particular back panel is the USB port. If you see, for most of the AV receivers, when you connect a streaming dongle, like for instance the Amazon Fire TV Stick, you typically need it to power using the USB port, and that is where the USB port at the back really comes in handy for most of the AV receivers. But in this particular AV receiver, there is surprisingly no USB port at the back. There is one port in the front which primarily is for music playback, and second, in case you still want to power it, you can do that, but the wires would still be laid open and right in front of you. So that's one of the drawbacks of not having a powered port at the back. The second thing about the front portion is that it has got 2 knobs as per the old style, one for input selection, one for volume control. Rest of all the features are pretty same with all the AV receivers and their old predecessors as well, so I'm not going to jump into that. But talking about video, which is the other aspect which the AV receiver does, is this particular AV receiver has now got compatibility with HDR10+, which makes it more better for getting a good color gamut as well as good resolution on the TV screen or on a projector screen. So in case you are running up the inputs of this particular AV receiver, this is when all these features really come into picture. In case you are going to use it just to connect it with your TV and use the TV apps for streaming, then all you need is just the EARC port and the 7 speaker outputs and probably the sub pre-outs. So for all you guys, the audio and the video features are really not going to be that effective. It's just going to be the ERC and the speaker and subwoofer outputs. But for those of you who are using it to connect the input devices, for instance like cable satellite, media players, gaming consoles, that is when you will actually be exploiting this AV receiver to the best and to the fullest of its features. So this is it about this particular AV receiver, that is X1700H. Now let's check on the comparison of this particular AV receiver with the Denon S760H receiver. Now before we jump into the specs of that and then try to compare it, I'm going to establish one of the best facts that will help you actually analyze the S series of Denon versus the X series of the Denon. So the X series, the reason why it's called X compared to S series of the other Denon receivers is that this particular X series range supports multi-EQ XT, which is the Odyssey calibration setup. So there is one entry level stuff which is the Odyssey multi-EQ standard, and then you have got the multi-EQ XT standard. Now XT is wherein they have got a good coverage of frequency range. Low frequency settings can also be done a little more properly. So it's a little advanced room calibration software compared to the multi-EQ software. So this XT being one of the major differentiating factors between the S series and X series, the reason why X series has gained a little more popularity is only for this room calibration software. Apart from that, when we talk about the specs of both these AV receivers, S760H is on one hand 75 watts at 8 ohms, this is 80 watts at 8 ohms. So 5 watts difference at 8 ohms is the primary differentiation. Second differentiation factor is that it does not have the assignable or the bi-amping facility which this AV receiver carries. Apart from it, you have got little more number of analog inputs in this particular device compared to the analog inputs available on the Denon S760H model. And the very important reason why you should buy X1700H when compared with the S760H is that it has got a little bigger power supply of 430 watts compared to the 400 watts of the Denon S760H. With this differentiation, I think you would be in a good position to now figure out which AV receiver to buy. In case your speakers are satellite speakers which do not genuinely require that kind of power, and to save that extra money, you can actually spend on Denon S760H. But yes, if you feel that the room calibration software of Multi EQ XT is important for you, then go ahead with the Denon X1700H and you can let go of the Denon S760H model. Few of the common drawbacks of both these receivers is that it does not have two HDMI outputs when compared with some of the other brands. Second thing is it does not have IMAX enhanced support and Auro 3D support, which is there primarily from the Denon X4700H series. So I think more or less the differentiation is in the power and the room calibration. If that particular thing is very important for you, or if it's not important for you, then I think you by now would know which AV receiver to buy. And in case both these AV receivers does not work for you and you want to go one step higher and you need two HDMI outputs, you need some little more power from the AV receivers, then in that case there are 4 models that I would like to highlight which you can compare with these particular products, and rather not compare but you can actually upgrade to the next level. Number 1 is the Denon X2700H, which brings in some more features for the speakers, as well as it has got some more power in the store for you. The second option is the Yamaha RX A2A, which is the Avantage series premium model from Yamaha. The third option is the Pioneer VSX 935 AV receiver, and the fourth option is the Marantz SR 5015. So with these 4 models to upgrade compared to Denon X1700H and S760H, now these upgrades I would specifically mention for those of you who are using home theaters or these receivers in a dedicated home cinema room wherein you are going to really pump up the volume, as well as to those of you who have speakers which are going to demand power of that kind of output. So in case your speakers need that, then only look out for these 4 models as the upgrade to the X1700H or S760H. So I hope this video has helped you analyze which AV receiver to buy and whether X1700H or S760H can be one of your best picks. And as I promised at the start of the video, I am going to share with you a link in the description wherein you can actually reach out to us and you can seek my help or my team's help in designing your home theater. So one of the best ways is that you can talk to Aviba, which is there in the link in the description. Second is you can actually design one of the best home theater rooms for you using the second link, which is right below the link of Aviba. With that, we come to an end of this particular video. In case there is something that you would want me to do with this particular AV receiver, as in compare it with some other models as well, let us know in the comments below. And if there is anything wherein you want to talk to me, then you know where to reach out using a T20 service, which is the telephonic 20 minutes conversation with me. So I am looking forward to talk to most of you guys. So that's it from my end, guys. Thank you once again for watching. I, Tanmay Mehta, your home technology consultant or home theater wale bhaiya, will see you all in my next video. Thank you.